Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going on a seriously fascinating journey, deep into the mechanics of our own attention. I mean, if you've been feeling scattered, overwhelmed, or just totally incapable of focusing on one task for more than 5 minutes, well, you are absolutely not alone. But the way we typically try to fix this problem, it's usually completely wrong. Today, we're looking at this incredibly powerful framework from Dandapani. He's a former Hindu monk who spent 10 solid years learning the absolute deepest secrets of concentration. We're going to break down exactly how a monk views modern distraction, and more importantly, how you can actually train your brain to master mental control. Let's get right into it.
It's a super familiar sight, right? We see it literally everywhere, maybe even in the mirror. When we talk about our shattered attention spans, the very first thing we do is point fingers. We blame the internet. We blame social media algorithms. And most of all, we ask the question, are smartphones really to blame for your distraction? It is just so easy to use these shiny devices as the ultimate scapegoat for our lack of focus. But the truth we're going to uncover today is a much harsher reality about personal choice.
Okay, let's dive into this. Dandapani offers some serious tough love right out of the gate here. He points out that nobody's holding a gun to your head saying you have to associate with these people and you have to do these things. No, you choose to do them. People complain constantly that life is just too busy, that there are way too many apps to keep up with. I mean, think about when a new social media platform like Snapchat or TikTok comes out. People feel this immense pressure, right? They're like, oh man, I need to be on there. But Dandapani's perspective is radically simple. No, you don't. You really don't have to care what new app comes out tomorrow. You consciously choose to engage with it.
And this brilliantly illustrates the mental trap we all kind of fall into. We constantly tell ourselves, life is too busy, I can't simplify. It's a very passive victim mindset. But the reality is actually much more empowering. We choose our focus and we choose our distractions. We literally have the choice. When we say we can't simplify our lives, what we're really saying is that we just don't want to make the hard choices required to do it. Acknowledging that our distraction is a choice, that is the very first step toward reclaiming our minds.
All right, moving on to Section 2, treating energy like currency, the law of thermodynamics. So now that we've accepted responsibility for our distractions, we need to understand the actual fuel that powers our focus. We've got to start looking at our mental energy in a completely different way. Let's look at a really fundamental rule of physics, the law of thermodynamics. It states that you cannot create or destroy energy, you can only transfer it or transform it. Think about what this actually means for your daily life. When you wake up, you only have 100% daily allowance of energy. That's it. It is entirely capped. You can't just magically create more of it. By 11 p.m. tonight, you're going to be absolutely exhausted and ready to sleep. Because this energy is finite, we absolutely must be intentional about exactly where it goes throughout our day.
Imagine your 100% energy allowance as a strict daily budget. If you're an entrepreneur, a student, or just a really busy professional, you're actually advised to look at this energy exactly the same way you look at money in your bank account. It is a finite resource. You have a slice for energy invested in loved ones, a slice for energy for your goals, and unfortunately for most of us, a massive slice for energy wasted on distractions. Every single time you give energy to some random notification, you are literally stealing it from the slice meant for the people and things you actually love. It has to be wisely managed, reallocated, and strategically invested.
Which brings us to Section 3, the law of practice, and exactly why you are a master of distraction. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this massive number right here, 13 hours. So if energy is so precious, why on earth do we waste so much of it? Well, let's do some quick math. The average person sleeps about 7 to 8 hours a night. That leaves roughly 16 hours of waking life. Out of those 16 hours, the average person is actively practicing distraction for 13 of them.
And this brings us to a terrifying but undeniable truth, the law of practice. The rule is incredibly simple. We become incredibly good at whatever it is we practice over and over again. And here's the kicker. The universe absolutely does not care if what you're practicing is positive or negative. If you spend 13 hours a day, 7 days a week, just rapidly switching your attention from emails to texts to videos to wandering thoughts, well, you shouldn't wonder why you're so easily distracted. You're not broken. You are simply a highly trained master of distraction. You literally practice it all day long.
Which naturally leads us to our relationship with our devices. Think about it. If every time your iPhone beeps, you turn to it and go, "Yes, master, how can I serve you today?" then you live in that world of distraction. Look, technology in and of itself is not evil. It's a beautiful, incredibly useful thing, but only as long as we are the ones in charge.
The moment it trains you to drop whatever you're doing just because it makes a little sound, it becomes your master. Every beep is just another rep in your daily distraction workout.
All right, Section 4, the glowing orb of awareness, a monk's mental model.
Okay, so we've defined the problem. Now let's shift into the solution. According to the monk's perspective, you can't concentrate or focus on something if you don't really understand how it works. To concentrate, we must first deeply understand the mechanics of the mind. The first step is to actually separate you from your mind. The mind is defined here not as a single solid thing, but as a vast space or area. Imagine it as this massive architectural landscape with thousands of different sections or rooms. There's a specific room in your mind for anger. There's a room for joy. There's a room for art, a room for food, a room for science. It's just a vast, compartmentalized landscape holding every possible experience and emotion.
Now, if the mind is this vast space, what are you? Well, you are the awareness. Imagine your active awareness as a glowing ball of light like an orb. This glowing orb can float around and travel anywhere within that vast space of the mind. Whichever room the orb enters, it lights up. When the orb enters the anger room, that room lights up and you become conscious of being angry. When it travels to the joy room, you experience joy. Your active attention is literally that traveling light.
So, the crucial point is, what exactly is distraction? From a monk's perspective, distraction is when we allow people, things, and notifications around us to just drag our glowing orb of awareness from one area of the mind to another all day long. You didn't choose to take your orb to the stress room, an email notification dragged it there. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and they drag your orb into the anger room. Distraction is letting outside forces completely dictate where your light shines.
Let's contrast these two states really quickly. Distraction is allowing others to move your glowing orb. It's chaotic, it's reactive movement. Concentration, on the other hand, is taking back control. It's keeping your awareness on one thing for an extended period of time. It's the highly intentional practice of navigating your light to a specific room in your mind and actively holding it steady right there, no matter what tries to pull it away.
Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 5, mastering your everyday focus, doing one thing at a time.
So, how do we actually build this muscle in everyday life? The good news is you don't need to go off to a monastery to practice this. Let's just use a simple conversation with your spouse or a loved one. First, when you're talking to them, intentionally place your glowing orb of awareness entirely on them. Give them your absolute, undivided attention. Second, notice when it drifts away. And trust me, it will drift to what's for dinner or a stressful work problem. And finally, simply bring the orb back to them. Do it over and over. If you speak to your partner for 2 hours a day, that is a 2-hour daily workout for your concentration muscles.
Now, for anyone out there wondering how to pass this on to the next generation, the monk's answer is pretty blunt. First, you must learn to concentrate yourself. It's a complete game of monkey see, monkey do. You simply cannot teach what you do not practice yourself. Children learn almost entirely through observation, not just instruction. If they see you constantly checking your phone at the dinner table, no amount of lecturing is ever going to teach them to focus. You have to embody the practice. And why does all of this matter so much? Well, because life is quite literally a manifestation of where your energy is flowing. These are the ultimate stakes. If you're constantly distracted, your energy is fragmented into 1,000 tiny droplets, achieving absolutely nothing. If you can't focus your energy into a single, concentrated point, then manifesting your life goals, building truly deep relationships, and achieving mastery, it becomes incredibly challenging, if not entirely impossible.
So let's summarize everything into a really clear concentration action plan. First, stop the myth of multitasking and just do one thing at a time. Make this a core part of your daily life. Use every conversation, every meal, every single email as a training ground. Practice, 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 so you can unlearn those 13 hours of bad habits. And finally, keep bringing your awareness back. Do not judge yourself when the orb drifts. The actual magic, the real workout, happens in the exact moment you pull it back without judgment.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with one final thought. Just one question to carry with you for the rest of your day. Ask yourself, where is your glowing orb right now? Are you in control of it, or is someone else pulling the strings? The power to choose is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining us on the explainer today, and keep practicing.